Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. Countdown's on, y'all. We're getting so daggone close. I can taste it. I can smell it. Whatever you want to say, we can do it. It's literally 26 days till kickoff, y'all. If you can't dig that, I don't know what you can dig. Got a little show lined up. The vols are off on fall practice day, so I picked us out a few little things to go over. One big thing to come out today is top 25, y'all. The coaches' top 25. Pretty sure the AP top 25 will come out sometime next week. And ESPN trying to bait us on trying to make it look like we ain't played a road game out of conference for 11 years, something like that. We'll know when I pull it up. And I got you 10 over under win total teams to pick. I put them all together. I'll do them singly too. So strap in, buckle up, grab your popcorn, grab your tater chips, whatever you got to do. Let's get into it, y'all. We're going to go over the top 25 first. There are a few shocking things in there, if you ask me, and there's a few that's not really shocking to me. First things first, we're going to start at the bottom. Boise State at 25. Not sure I agree with that. I mean, last year, Genty was basically their whole team. The couple times he did get slowed down, they had close games, and then they lost to, but he still had a pretty good game against Penn State. Number 24, Texas Tech. I'm not buying that hype yet. They have spent money. They probably have one of the best rosters in the Big 12, but till I see it on the field, it's just hype to me right now. BYU at 23. BYU, a lot of people had them like top 15 before they lost their quarterback. So they're kind of an unknown. So I ain't going to argue with them at 23. I just figured that might drop them out. Iowa State at 22. Not going to argue there. They got Rocco Beck returning. In the Big 12, you got a quarterback, you got a chance. I mean, that's every conference, but the Big 12, especially where they don't get the top end guys on the offense and defensive line like the SEC and Big 10 does. A&M at 21. I'm in the belief of A&M will be 8-4 until they ain't 8-4, 9-4, 9-5, whatever. At the end of the year, I've heard it, but I ain't seen it besides 1 year with Jimbo Fisher. The COVID year was the one good year Jimbo Fisher had there, and then this is Elko's second year, so if he's going to make a jump, it's the year to do it. Kansas State at 20. That's your week 0 matchup, so it's top 20 matchup. Number 20, Kansas State versus 22, Iowa State. That should be a good game. We'll make our picks on that when week 0 gets here. Indiana at 19. They lost their quarterback. They did bring in a guy from Cal, Francisco Mendoza. Their schedule's pretty weak again, so I could see them having a good year if Cignetti's as good a coach as it seemed like he was last year. Number 18, my Tennessee Volunteers. I would probably have us around 15 till I see what Aguilar and Merklinger does at quarterback. So I ain't going to dispute us at 18 too bad. What I do have a problem with, Florida at 17. They won a couple of games at the end of last year. They got a tough schedule, one of the toughest in the country. And their quarterback is a question mark. Yes, Lagway's talented. Yes, they won some games with him in. He was still a 59% passer last year. And he's dealing with multiple injuries right now, and he's been dealing with them since the season ended last year. So I don't know about that one, but I might have them in the top 25. I probably have them right around where Boise's at. Boise or Texas Tech, maybe. Just cause I mean, you can't factor in their schedule into where you think they're ranked at. So SMU 16. I'd have them top 20 for sure. They returned their quarterback. It was a redshirt freshman, so it'll be a redshirt sophomore this year. Barring a sophomore slump, I mean, they're going to be up there with Louisville, Miami, and Clemson for the ACC. Ole Miss at 15. Ole Miss is over under win total, same as Tennessee, so they're right in that area. It's all going to depend on how good is Simmons, their quarterback. I know he's smart. He graduated college at like 13 or some crazy stuff. Here's where we're getting to some teams that I completely disagree with. Michigan at 14. Yes, they added the number one quarterback in the country. But they also lost 2 first-round defensive linemen and their best cornerback on defense. Their schedule's manageable, but still, with the freshman quarterback, it's hard to win with a freshman quarterback. And I don't think their talent as a whole, their starters are good, but do they have the depth? So I'd have Michigan in top 25, but I would not have them top 15. I'd have them down, like I said, with Florida down here replacing Boise State or Texas Tech or BYU, somebody like that. South Carolina at 13. I'd have them about 15 to 17 range. I mean, Lenore Sellers, if he takes the next step, South Carolina can be really good this year. Vegas ain't a believer in them. They're over under on them 7.5, and the under's favored, I'm pretty sure. Illinois at 12. No. Illinois may be a top 20 team. They benefited from an easy schedule, and then they got the win against South Carolina in the bowl game. A lot of times these bowl games, unless it's in the playoff now, they're kind of meaningless. I hate to say that because I miss the days where they wasn't, and everybody gave it everything they had, even in bowl games. But I don't take a lot out of bowl games, just like Michigan beat Alabama, and that's why everybody's so high on them. Arizona State, I think they're high. I know everybody's high on Sam Levitt. They got their best receiver back. He missed the playoff. But Scatterbo carried that team in the playoff last year. I mean, here's the whole reason they was in that game. I'd have Arizona State top 25, but I would not have them in the top 15. Like I said, I'd probably have them down there in that bottom 21-25 range. Miami at 10. That's putting a lot of stock in Carson Beck. Miami did not look good last year whenever Cam Ward sat out the bowl game. Like I said, it is a bowl game. But your backups are getting time to play. They're going to want to put it on a show for the coach so they don't go get somebody in the portal to replace them. They brought in Carson Beck. Is Carson Beck going to be 23 Carson Beck or 24 Carson Beck? Coming off Tommy John surgery. I'm not so sure about him. I'm not a big fan of Mario Cristobal as a coach either. I think Mario Cristobal can recruit, especially when he's got somebody like Ruiz throwing around money for him. I'd have Miami probably 18 to 20 range until I see what Carson Beck looks like. LSU at 9. A lot of people's picking LSU to win the national title. Maybe I'm just crazy. I'm not a believer in Brian Kelly. He's gave me no reason to be a believer in him. He won against cupcake schedules at Notre Dame, and then when he got against one of the big dogs, he got his ass whooped in the BCS or the national title game. At LSU, he's had a couple of good wins and he's had some bad losses. And he wasted a Heisman Trophy quarterback, went 9-3 with them because they couldn't play no defense. They still got question marks on defense. Yes, they hit the portal. Is it enough? Can Brian Kelly coach them over the hump? I don't think so. But I can understand why LSU's ranked where they're at with what they brought in. Like I said, I'm not a believer in Brian Kelly, so I wouldn't have him there. But I personally ain't going to disagree with it because a lot of people's riding LSU. Hell, J.D. Piquet the other day on 3, the hard count. It's a good show on YouTube if you want to watch it. He picked LSU to win the national title. So maybe I'm just in the minority. I'm just not sold on Brian Kelly. I don't think Brian Kelly will be at LSU within the next 2 to 3 years. Number 8, Alabama. They got a lot of returning talent on defense. They lost their quarterback. From what I've heard and read from fall camp, none of their quarterbacks are setting the world on fire. I read an article that said that Ty Simpson's probably going to be the starter, and he's probably more like Jacob Coker than he is Mac Jones. And if you remember, Jacob Coker was really nothing but a game manager. He's a 5-star guy that transferred in, I want to say, from maybe, I don't think it was USC, but I want to say USC. Everybody thought he was going to win the job, but then he didn't. But then the next year he started, and he was Florida State's where he come from. Florida State. It just popped back in my head. Oregon at 7. I like Dan Lanning, and I think Oregon's going to have a good year this year. But it's all because of their schedule. Their hardest game on their schedule is Penn State. And I think they play USC too, and besides that, they play a bunch of nobodies. I mean, absolute nobodies. Oklahoma State's their hardest out-of-conference game. They only return 5 starters. Everybody's high on Dante Moore, and I think Dante Moore will be good. And I do think Oregon will probably win 9, 10, maybe even 11 games, but I think it'll kind of be like last year, and they got in the playoff and then got their ass whooped. They did beat Ohio State at Oregon last year. And Oregon's a hard place to play. But then the playoff, I think their depth that they didn't really have last year, they wore down as the season went on, and then they got to the playoff, and Ohio State whooped their ass worse than they whooped theirs. And we was 10-2, and Oregon was 13-0. So Clemson is 6. Clemson has the most returning production in college football, y'all. Does that mean they should be ranked 6? I personally would put them around 12. They got Cade Klubnik's a pretty good quarterback. He has a chance to be in the Heisman conversation. Being in the ACC helps. Your only competition really is Miami or SMU. So that helps a lot. But I'd have Clemson in the 10 to 12 range. Clemson could be good enough to win a national title this year, but I'm still not sold on Dabo not using the portal enough, because the portal is good to supplement your roster for you if you miss on a recruit. Obviously, you never want to admit you missed on a recruit, but if you do, you can use the portal to replace it, and Dabo's not been doing that. Notre Dame at 5. That's high. They got Jeremiah Love back. They're going to be pretty stout on defense. But Riley Leonard was a big part of their success last year, him helping on the ground. Don't think their quarterback will be as good this year. I could see them being 0-2 to start the season. They start with Miami and Texas A&M. I'd have Notre Dame in the top 15. Not quite 5. Georgia at 4. I ain't going to argue with. I mean, Georgia's going to be up there every year with the talent they bring in. The only thing I will say is they got question mark quarterback like a lot of these teams are talking about. So until Georgia loses 3 or 4 games in a season, they're always going to be in the top 5. I mean, that's all there is to it. Penn State at 3. I'm not a believer in Drew Aller, y'all. In games against top 15 opponents, the guy's got a 53% completion percentage. But everybody's jock riding him, talking about him being in the Heisman race this year. I don't see it. I do like both the Penn State's running backs. They got some dogs at running back. I think their schedule is manageable at Ohio State and Oregon, I think, is their 2 biggest games. So even if they lose both of those, that's 10 wins. So I'm not going to argue with them being there. I think it's a little high. I'd have them maybe 7 or 8. But that's just, nitpicking at that point. Ohio State 2, Texas 1. I'd have them 2 flipped. You're the defending champ until you're not. I can't stand Ohio State. I do think Texas will go and beat Ohio State. But for a preseason poll, I'd have Ohio State 1. They're defending champs, and I'd have Texas. I honestly wouldn't. Arch is going to be good. I do think Arch is going to be good. But I'm not sold on the rest of Texas's team. They lost a lot. They did bring a lot in the portal. We'll see how it meshes. They got Ohio State. They got Georgia. I'm not sure who else is on their schedule, but they lose those 2 games. If they lose both of those, and they could drop another one if they lose both of them, and then you're out of the playoff. I'm not quite sold on Texas roster all the way around, but I knew they'd be 1 or 2. As everybody else is. I do think if Arch is as good as everybody's hyping them up to be, then they're going to be hard to beat. But I also kind of agree with Steve Spurrier that everybody's already crowning Arch the best quarterback in the country, all this. And if he's that good, then why wasn't he starting over Quinn Ewers, who went in the 7th round last year? Is it because Sark just wanted to start Ewers because he come there and helped him build it? Or most coaches are going to start whoever's going to help them win a title. That's just my opinion. Which, like I said, I'm high on Arch, honestly. But, so y'all tell me where you think they messed up out in the comments section. Y'all hit that like button for me, share, subscribe. When you subscribe, make sure you click that bell, go all the way to all. That way my videos will pop up for you. I missed that at the beginning of the video. I usually say that right at the beginning to get y'all to do it right before we get started. So y'all tell me what y'all think. What y'all's top 25? What you would change in the top 25? I told you what I'd change. You tell me if you think I'm crazy. Or if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me, tell me what you would change. And we'll go from there. I need y'all to start commenting more, liking these videos. I want to get y'all involved. Can't get you involved unless you comment and tell me stuff. A few of you do, and I appreciate that. Up next, we're just going to cover this real quick. ESPN's trying to say we ain't played a road game since a true road game in 11 years. This is 11 years old and counting. The Vols will not play on an opposing campus. Well, yeah, that's true, technically. We play a lot of neutral site games like North Carolina State last year, this year against Syracuse, so on, so on. But, so they're saying since 2014 against Oklahoma. And it's technically true if you word it like that. But just in 2022, you'll see down here at the bottom, we did win at Pitt in 2022, but Pitt plays their games at the Steelers Stadium, so it wasn't on campus. Still a road game. It just wasn't on another team's campus. So, that's kind of like a clickbait thing. Oh, Tennessee, they played on away game in 11 years out of conference, trying to make it look like we're not scheduling nobody or Making sure our out-of-conference schedule's easy. Tennessee ain't never done it. We've had a few people back out on us, like North Carolina, Nebraska. Nebraska said, "Oh, well, I play them whenever the committee don't care about strength of schedule. So why would we take a loss and maybe miss the playoffs because we played Tennessee and they kicked our ass?" And hell, Nebraska's supposed to be building back up and be good with Raul, so why are they scared of? Don't make no sense. I think if you schedule the game, you play it. Yeah, we should have backed out on Oregon back in the day when Butch Jones first got here. We should have backed out a lot of ass whoopings whenever we was down, but we didn't. We just sat there and took them. All right, here's the last thing we're going to go over, y'all. The Vols didn't have fall practice today. They had an off day. I got you 10 over-unders to bet on. I'm going to have to lean up so I can see these on this little screen. I got Tennessee. Our over-under's 8.5. The under's favored, so they think we're just going to win 8. I've got us going over. Up next, Michigan State's over-under 5.5. I got the over on it. Notre Dame's over-under's 10.5. I got the under on it. Michigan's over-under's 9.5. I got the under on it. Like I said, I'm not sold on Michigan. I think they'll win 8 or 9, but I don't think they get to 10. USC, the Trojans, they're over-under 7.5. I got them going over. I think they're going to be slightly improved this year and keep Lincoln Riley's job for him. I think they get to 8, maybe 9. Then TCU's over-under is 6.5. I like Josh Hoover. Sonny Dykes, I don't think is the greatest coach in the world, but I think he's good enough. I think they get to 7. And we got West Virginia. Their over-under's 5.5. I've got them going over. Rich Rod's revamped that team from what I've read. He's liking everything, but running backs might be injured, and they're looking for one. But besides that, I like Rich Rod. I think he's a good coach. I think West Virginia hits the over in Rich Rod's first year. Got Alabama under 9.5 wins. I think they get 8 or 9 this year, probably right at 9. So we're going to under on that. Then Oklahoma, I've got them going over 6.5, y'all. These are the ones I picked out that I'm most confident in. If y'all go put some money on them, I'm really confident in these. There's other ones I'm kind of confident in. I didn't add anything I wasn't very confident into this. I don't want to hand y'all nothing that I'm not confident in. And last but not least, Texas A&M. Over 7.5 wins. Like I said, they're about guaranteed to get to 8, but can they get any higher? That's been their threshold, besides Jimbo's 5 and 7 with his number 1 best rated recruiting class ever. I parlayed all these together, y'all, as you see at the bottom, plus 15,000. You ain't got to parlay them. You can bet them one at a time. If you're not a gambler, don't start gambling because of me. If you do gamble, those are my best value picks. If there was one honorable mention, it'd be Vandy. Vandy's over-under is 4.5. I think they can get to 5. If you can get Vandy 4.5, I'll take it. But I didn't want to put it on air because it's not one I'm as confident in the ones I just gave y'all. If you put $5 on that, you parlay all those together, you put $5 on that. Look how much you're going to win, $779. It's one of those you're playing the long game now. A lot of those ain't going to cash till last week of the season. So you got 13, 14-week wait before you know if you cash or not. Those are the ones I'm confident in. Y'all tell me the ones you're confident in. And I'll tell you if I think you're crazy. You probably think some of mine on there are crazy. Sorry, y'all. That's the show for today. Y'all make sure you hit the like button for me, share, subscribe, get in the comment section. Tell me if you think my bets are crazy. Get in the comment section and tell me what you think of the top 25. If you agree with what I said about it. If you don't, who's not in there you'd have in there. Let's make this the interactive channel, y'all. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you do that YouTube stuff for me on your way out the door. And as always, go Vols, baby.